8 months. That's how long I fought a system that was always on the edge of stability. Parameters drifting, coral stressed. Every fix I made brought me a week, not a solution. I eventually traced every single problem back to one decision I made before a single drop of water went into the tank, my sump. I designed it around the space I had available, not the system I was trying to build. That one decision cost me 8 months. The sump is the engine room of your reef. The quality of what is inside determines the performance of everything above it. This is step 3. Before we cover the types, let's establish what a sump actually does. A sump does 3 things. 1. It increases your total water volume. More water means more stability. Parameter swings in a 300-gallon system with a 100-gallon sump are significantly more diluted than in a system running on its own. 2. It removes equipment from your display tank. Your skimmer, your heater, your refugium light. None of that belongs in the space your coral is living in. 3. It gives you a dedicated space for biological and mechanical filtration that operates independently from your display. Every reef system of meaningful size should run a sump. The question is not whether, it's which type suits your build. There are 3 sump configurations that you will encounter in the reef hobby. The wet sump, the refugium sump, and the Berlin method. Each one has a different philosophy. Understanding that philosophy is more important than memorizing the equipment list. The wet sump is the most widely used biological filtration method in the hobby, and the easiest to understand. Water from your display flows into your first chamber, where your protein skimmer lives. This is non-negotiable across every sump configuration. Your skimmer's job is to strip dissolved organic compounds out of the water before they break down into nitrate. From the skimmer chamber, the water moves into the biological filtration chamber. In the modern hobby, this is where you will find highly porous biomedia. Bioblocks, biospheres, or purpose-built biological filtration media from manufacturers designed specifically for maximum bacterial surface area. These have largely replaced bioballs in the modern setup. Beneficial bacteria colonizes every pore of that medium and drives your nitrate cycle, processing ammonia through to nitrate. The wet sump is reliable, fast to establish, and easy to maintain. That's why it's been the foundation of the hobby for decades. The limitation is nitrate. Your skimmer manages the organic load before it becomes nitrate, but the wet sump has no natural built-in nitrate export beyond that. Once nitrate builds, it's regular water changes that keeps that in check. For a fish-only system or fowler, a wet sump is a solid, cost-effective choice. For a reef with corals sensitive to elevated nitrates, you'll want to step it up to a refugium or Berlin configuration. Here's what most people don't realize. The sump type you choose doesn't just filter your water. It sets the ceiling on how healthy your reef can ever get. Let me show you why that matters. The refugium sump is where modern reef keeping starts. Like every sump configuration, the first chamber is your protein skimmer. It removes dissolved organics at the source before they travel anywhere else in the system. Non-negotiable here, just as everywhere else. From there, water moves into the biological filtration chamber. Same modern porous biomedia. Bioblocks, biospheres, high surface area biological filtration media. Your nitrogen cycle is driven here, exactly as in the standard wet sump. Then comes the refugium itself, a dedicated chamber housing macroalgae under a reverse photoperiod light. The algae grows. It consumes nitrate and phosphate out of the water column as it does. You harvest it regularly, physically removing the nutrients from the system. The reverse photoperiod matters. Your display lights run through the day, and the refugium light runs at night. Photosynthesis is happening around the clock, stabilizing your pH through the overnight period when it would otherwise drift down. What makes the refugium sump genuinely powerful is that you now have 2 layers of nutrient export running simultaneously. Your skimmer pulling dissolved organics out before they come nitrate, and your macroalgae consuming the nitrate and phosphate that does build. That combination is what makes this configuration so biologically robust. The refugium also produces pods. Copepods and amphipods breed in your macroalgae and flow into your display, a live food source for fish and corals. My sump runs a refugium section. Chaetomorpha, or keto, is my macroalgae of choice. It grows fast and doesn't go sexual and crashes like Calopa can, and it's easy to harvest. If you are building a reef and you want natural, sustainable nutrient export, the refugium is the single most impactful thing you can add to your sump design. If you're getting value from the series, a subscribe helps me keep building it. 7 steps after this one, and each one builds on the last. The Berlin method is the approach used in most high-performance reef systems today. Developed in Germany in the 1980s. The philosophy? Heavy protein skimming and live rock as the primary biological filter, with minimal reliance on synthetic filtration media. A Berlin sump is divided into 3 sections. First chamber, protein skimmer. Water enters and hits the skimmer before it goes anywhere else. Second, refugium or macroalgae section. Third, return pump chamber. Where Berlin diverges from the wet sump and the refugium is its biological filtration. Instead of modern porous biomedia, the Berlin method uses live rock in the sump and throughout the display. Live rock contains aerobic zones near the surface for nitrification and anaerobic zones deep within for denitrification. It processes both ammonia and nitrite in a single substrate. That denitrification is what separates the Berlin from the other 2 configurations. The live rock's anaerobic zones converts nitrates into nitrogen gas, which off-gases harmlessly. That's why Berlin is the preferred method for SPS-dominant reefs, where nitrate must stay below 5 parts per million. The trade-off is cost and time. Quality live rock is expensive. A Berlin system takes longer to mature biologically, but for a high-performance SPS reef, the performance ceiling is higher than any other configuration. I said in the intro that I traced 8 months of problems back to my sump. Here's exactly what those mistakes were, because they're the 2 most common ones I see. The first was sizing. I built my sump to fit the available space in my cabinet, rather than sizing it for the system. The rule, which I now know, is that your sump should be at least 20 to 30% of your display tank's volume. My first sump was 12%. Not enough water volume to buffer anything. Every parameter swing in the display was amplified rather than absorbed. The second mistake was plumbing my skimmer into the return chamber, the last section before the water goes back into the display. Every bubble and microparticle the skimmer was processing went straight back into the tank instead of being exported. I spent 3 months not understanding why my water clarity was never quite right. Both mistakes came from the same place. I understood the theory. I hadn't thought through the practical consequence before I built. I'm not telling you this because I enjoy admitting that I got it wrong. I'm telling you this because at least one of those mistakes is in your current plan right now. 5 rules before you design your sump. These are non-negotiable. 1. Size it at 25 to 30% of your display volume, minimum. A 100-gallon display means a 25 to 30-gallon sump at minimum. More is always better. 2. Skimmer in the first chamber. Wet sump, refugium, Berlin, it doesn't matter. Every configuration. Water enters, hits the skimmer, dissolved organics are exported before the water moves anywhere else in the system. 3. Design your baffles to control water level in the skimmer chamber independently of a return chamber. Skimmer performance is sensitive to water level. A stable level is not optional, it's essential. 4. Size your return chamber for drain back volume. When your return pump switches off, water drains back from the display. Get this wrong, and your sump overflows. Calculate it before you plumb a single fitting. 5. Leave access space. You'll be working in your sump regularly, harvesting your refugium, cleaning chambers, adjusting your equipment. Build in space to do that without dismantling everything first. So, which sump type is right for your build? Fish only or fowler with a high bioload? Wet sump. Protein skimmer in the first chamber and modern porous biomedia in the second. Manage residual nitrate with regular water changes. Mixed reef, LPS and soft corals, refugium sump. Skimmer in chamber 1, modern biomedia in chamber 2, and macroalgae refugium in chamber 3. 2 layers of nutrient export running continuously. SPS dominant reefs where nitrates must stay below 5 parts per million, Berlin method. Heavy protein skimming, quality live rock as your biological filter throughout, with the refugium section included. Budget for it properly. The performance ceiling is worth it. Whichever type you choose, size it properly. Skimmer in the first chamber and account for drain back before a single drop of water goes in. In step 4, we get into water flow and circulation. Power heads, return pumps, and why dead spots in your tank are silently killing your corals. That one catches people off guard more than almost anything else in the hobby. If you're new here, this is a full series. We're building a reef from the ground up, one system at a time. Step 1 is in the cards. Don't skip. Each step builds on the last. Subscribe if you want to follow the blueprint. And if something in this video saved you from the mistakes I made, drop it in the comments. I read everyone. Master the ecosystem. I'll see you in step 4.